everybody, it's Chris Eats, Wootini over gaygamer.net, here with another weekly video podcast. This week I have a new t-shirt. It is my Mohawk Mall t-shirt, which I found online, thanks to my brother sending a link to the family. This was the mall in Niskayuna where I grew up in upstate New York, and it's actually the mall where I got my first job when I turned 16. And it's where I had all my after-school jobs in high school. On the back, there's actually a list of the 82 stores, only some of which I recognize, so I'm assuming that that is a list of the stores that were there when it first opened, whenever that was, probably in the 70s. But I just love this. I think it's a great logo as well. I remember in Rock Band 3, I think it was. It might have been 2, but I think it was 3. Where they had a t-shirt that had this actual logo on it. Not the words, it didn't say Mohawk Mall, but it was the pyramid logo. And as soon as I was scrolling through the t-shirts, I recognized it and I was like, oh my god, that's it. And I put that t-shirt on my character and that's all I wore. Forever. Like, I didn't even care about anything else. Now, on the other hand, in Rock Band 4, I still wish there was more options. I just feel like the earlier Rock Band games had more options for playing dress-up. Here I'm like, meh. Although they are still adding stuff. But I'd like this one back. That'd be nice. But no. Also, I did play some Rock Band this past week, and I actually played with my husband, who likes to do vocals, because he can't do the guitar, he can't quite get it, he doesn't like that. He can do drums on, like, easy, but he prefers to sing. So I was going to go and do some more tour things, because I actually discovered when I was scrolling down, because I knew I still had a few tours to finish off, I actually discovered there's like a ton more at the bottom that I hadn't even unlocked yet, and I'm like, so there's a lot of Rock Band that I didn't even unlock. Like, I finished the little storyline thing, but now I'm like, I still have a lot to do. I didn't realize. I never scrolled down all the way. But I was going to do a tour, and he's like, can I play? And I'm like, oh, well, I was going to do a tour, and sometimes you can't pick the songs you're going to sing and perform, so, and since he's singing, like, you kind of need to, like, if you're playing drums or guitar, you can play whatever, because you're just going by the notes on screen. But if you're singing, you kind of need to know the song. So, he's like, oh, that's okay. But then I was like, no, you never play Rock Band with me, so let's do that. So instead, I did a show. So I said, pick a song, so he picked a song. And then from then on, like, I let him do the voting, and then I would vote with him. Because the first time I, like, voted, the first time through, like, the first 2 songs, like, I voted for what I wanted, and he voted for what he wanted, and it would randomly pick me, because there was only 2 people. There was no majority vote. So after that, I was like, no, you can pick, because you're singing, and I'll just play whatever. And he did pretty well, because they mostly gave him decent options that he was willing to pick from. There was one song where he was like, I don't even know what that song is. It was a Fish song, and he was like, I don't even know what that is, so I'm gonna be screwed. And luckily, when we got to that song, it was like, do you still want to sing this, or would you like to sing one of these that the audience is requesting? And he's like, oh, audience request, yes, thank you, I know that one. So it's better to let him just do quick play, and then just let him pick songs. But that gets so tedious when you're scrolling through the list. I do like the play a show thing, where you can, like, vote on the categories. It just speeds things up, but whatever. I also have made some progress in Grim Fandango. I went off it for a little while, but then I tried to play it again. Like I said, it's hard because I don't have a long commute anymore, so I don't have time. I don't play it on my commute. I don't carry my Vita with me, so I play it at home, which, you know, whatever, or at the laundromat. And the problem is that I'm in a section now where Manny is... There's a lot of different locations to explore and talk to people in, and before it was like, it felt like it was a little more linear. Whereas now, it's not that it's non-linear, it's just that like there's a whole bunch of stuff and a whole bunch of people, and it's a little bit too open, and now I'm suddenly having difficulty figuring out what I need to focus on and what I should do first. And it just gets a little overwhelming as an adventure game thing. But I'm still slogging away at that one, because it is enjoyable. I love the dialogue, and the voice acting is fantastic. So much so that I kind of wish that they would have just made a movie out of it. I mean, not that playing it as a game is bad, but I'm surprised. I feel like they should just make it as a movie, because it would be really cool. But I did promise that I was going to try something new this week, and I did. A while back, Xbox Live Games with Gold was giving away Child of Light. I had heard good things about it, so I downloaded it. Just to have. In an emergency, you know. So I fired that up and gave it a shot. And it's surprisingly delightful. So all those reviews seem to have been right on. It's visually beautiful. The environments are lovely. I was a little concerned at the beginning because it was a little platformy. And I know it's technically an RPG. And in the beginning there's, you know, some jumping and stuff, and it was a little bit, wait, what? But very early on, you earn the ability to fly, so platforming becomes kind of a non-issue, because you can just float everywhere. So that's good. I also appreciate that the RPG is, well, it's not exactly turn-based, but it's close. It's like that active battle thing. I think it's like in Grandia, if I'm remembering correctly. It feels like I'm remembering it from Grandia, where everyone all the little icons for each character involved in the battle move along the timeline, and when you get to a certain point, it pauses, and you can choose what you want to do, and then when you reach the end of the timeline, that's when you do whatever you've selected. And there's ways to slow down your opponent so that you can get to take your turn before they do, and that's helpful. When I first started it, there were only 2 difficulty options, because normally I will go with normal, because I feel like easy is kind of a cheat. Unless it's like a really difficult game, in which case I'll go with easy. But I try to go with normal just because that's, you know, a bit of a challenge, but maybe not so much of a challenge. But here, it was like, do you want casual or expert? And it's like, well, I certainly don't want expert, so I guess I'll go with casual then. Which I feel like in the beginning, it was a bit easy. Like, all the battles were like kind of really, really easy. But now, the battles are getting a little more challenging. So, it's fun. It's a little weird navigating because it is, visually it's a 2D platformer, so everything is, you know, side to sides, you know, so, and then sometimes you move, you know, into or out of the screen, you know, but, so exploring is a little bit odd. There's sometimes, I'm wondering if there's places that I'm not exploring because I don't realize that I can go there, so I'm trying to be really careful and explore everything, because as an RPG, I want to get into as many battles as possible, because I want to level up as much as I can, because that way, when I get to the end, I'll be strong enough to win the final battle. Also, I'm playing on casual, so hopefully it won't be too big of a problem, and I should be able to finish the game no problem. Fingers crossed. So, that's it for me for this week, and next week, I will have a special treat, because the Nintendo Store is reopening as Nintendo New York. I'm assuming you call it Nintendo New York and not Nintendo NY, because that would be weird. So Nintendo New York is reopening its doors, all remodeled and pretty, and I will be there, so I'll get some pictures and video that I can share with you all. And so come back next week for that. See you then. Bye.